talked about the universality of Islam and the universal justice, which also grants human beings the freedom to choose religion and belief. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Qur'an, there's no compulsion in Islam. What I'm trying to do is place the hadith that I have in mind in our time and space and see its application nowadays. This hadith is وَيَدْعُ أَنْ اللَّهَ وَلَا يَشْهَدُ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ to the end of the hadith.
Good. The hadith that the brother referring to or saying of the Prophet, it says that the Prophet says, I have been commanded to fight people until they bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that I am His messenger. If they do that, their property and their lives will be sanctified, except in due process of law, like, for example, the payment of zakah or charity, which support the funds of the states. وَحِسَابُهُمْ عَلَى اللَّهِ, but their accountability lies with Allah. The scholars of hadith, with very strong evidence, concluded that that hadith actually applies only to people in Arabia, for a reason that I'm going to give. But what is their basis? Their basis that the style in the Arabic language, which is also found in the Qur'an, that sometimes a term which has a general meaning but is used for a specific meaning. Those of you who are familiar with the Qur'an, for example, there's one verse that says, الَّذِينَ قَالَ لَهُمُ النَّاسُ إِنَّ النَّاسَ قَدْ جَمَعُوا لَكُمْ. It says they were told that people have gathered armies to fight against you. And obviously the term people here does not mean all human beings on the earth. All in Arabia, it was actually in reference to a particular group of tribes that were hostile to Islam and were amassing an army to attack Muslims. So the word nas, or people, even though it could be translated mankind, in a given context, when you put it, like you said, in the proper context, actually it refers only to a limited number of people, a limited number of tribes. So that hadith was interpreted to apply particularly to the Arabs who knew the Prophet, because they are different from any others. Number one, they could not say, we cannot understand what this Prophet is teaching, because they speak Arabic. Number two, they cannot, and many honest persons amongst them, even though they remained unbelievers, could not help but admit that the style of the Qur'an is utterly inimitable, and even with their collective wisdom and skill in Arabic poetry and prose, they could not match the Qur'an, even a small part of it. Which means that if somebody else who doesn't speak Arabic can say, all right, the miracle of the Qur'an in that respect is irrelevant to me, it was very clear to them because that was their bread and butter. Number three, they could not say, we don't know this Prophet, where he came from, because they know everything about his history, about his absolute honesty and purity. He lived among them, he was raised as a child until he reached the age of maturity and began to receive revelation. Which means then, and these people, again, another reason, important one, they were not people of the book who would say, all right, we believe in God in any way, but in our own way. There was no excuse for them to continue insisting that these idols are really the creator, the ones that are intermediaries between man and God, or that they have any authority in this universe. And to keep insisting on that actually meant that they were harboring aggressive intentions against Muslims, and that's exactly what happened. They kept fighting against them, they kept betraying their treaties and their commitment to Muslims, and they represented a great danger. So that is applicable only to those. But the basic rule is the one that you quite rightfully cited in Surah 2 in the Qur'an. There is, let be no compulsion in religion. But these people have no reason at all, and there was a matter of security for that particular time. One cannot extend that to apply it to any other human being, because the verse that you refer to, no compulsion in religion, is not the only one in the Qur'an. Likewise, the Qur'an says to the Prophet, remind, you are only a reminder, you're not sent as a guardian over them. The Qur'an also says, this is the truth from your Lord. Whoever wishes to believe, let him believe. Whoever wishes to reject faith, let him reject faith. But it speaks about the hereafter as the abode where everything will be decided. فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. Whoever wishes to believe, let him believe. Whoever wishes to reject faith, let him reject faith. We have no authority to force. It's totally contrary even to the definition of Islam as I called it, willing, loving, conscious, trusting submission to God. How do you submit to God if there is some sword over your neck? It doesn't make any sense. It creates hypocrites, not believers.
Yes, brother.